Hello and welcome. Glad you're back. We're moving right along in our quest to understand and learn how to improve mental health. The first task we've undertaken is to come to an understanding of exactly what mental health is. Without knowing what it is, we would have a very difficult time in making any deliberate, conscientious, intelligent moves toward improving it. But with the knowledge of what it is, we can do a good job. You recall that we've suggested that there are two components to mental health, one of which is variable, which is represented by our set of basic beliefs that we've learned over a lifetime. And the other component of mental health is our set of 4 intrinsic behavioral goals, which are the 4 inborn intentions. Last time we discussed the first of these, and most important in my opinion, human dignity. Today we'll take up the other 3. Not that they're unimportant, they are very important, but they have a little different aspect to them that we'll discuss than does human dignity. Well, I won't keep you in suspense. The difference between and what makes human dignity so much more important is that it is the only one that you can have a perfect relationship with. These 3 that we will be discussing today must, of necessity, be compromised to some extent. And we will talk about the reasons for that as we go along. But at any rate, there are 3 important intentions that we'll talk about today. They are freedom of choice, sense of accomplishment, and love. Let's take each one of them now. The first inborn intention we'll talk about today is freedom of choice. We must make choices in order to accomplish anything, to make decisions, to grow, to develop. We have to make these choices. And we would like to do so with as few restrictions on them, on our behaviors as possible. But that's not always possible. As a matter of fact, I'll make it a little stronger. It's rarely possible to make all of the choices as freely as we would like to. The restrictions on our choices are both external and internal. External laws, of course, are the laws that we must abide by in order to live in a civilized society. Some of these laws may not be popular. I'm not a motorcycle rider, but I understand some motorcycle riders object to having to wear a helmet. Nevertheless, that's just an example of some laws that are in effect for the protection of the individual and, in a larger sense, for society in general, whether we particularly agree with a particular law or not. Nevertheless, the point is that there are laws that are restrictive of what we can do. There are many other external restrictions on our choices. We are certainly going to be limited in the resources that we have that we would otherwise apply to a choice that we would like to make. Those resources can be both monetary and material, and in the ability and the opportunity to cooperate with others in accomplishing something we would like to choose to do. So there are many, many restrictions on our external choices. External restrictions on our choices. Even the weather can conspire to restrict our choices sometimes. But nevertheless, the freedom of choice is something that is extremely important to us, and we will make many efforts to exercise that freedom, and we can certainly go to extremes on occasion to prevent restrictions on it. But that's part of our existence in today's world. And if external restrictions were not enough, we have an even stronger set of internal restrictions on our freedom of choice. Remember that we discussed a couple of lectures ago the topic of basic beliefs, that which we have learned to be true over the course of our life. We absorb the meaning of our experiences as our basic beliefs. And it is from these basic beliefs that we act and feel and behave as we do. Let me put it a little stronger. We have extreme difficulty to exercise any thought or feeling behavior that is outside of a basic belief, that is contrary to a basic beliefs. Our basic beliefs are our guiding principles in our individual lives. So our choices are restricted by what our basic beliefs tell us. And since they come from the experiences that we've had throughout life, it is easy to see, and we can be said to be prisoners of experience. Our second inborn intention to discuss today is sense of accomplishment. We must have food, clothing, and shelter in order to survive. And of course, there are many, many other things that we can do to accomplish the tasks that we select for ourselves or are assigned to us. So the feeling that we have, the good feeling that we have when we accomplish one of these tasks, is our sense of accomplishments. And we will go to great lengths in order to derive both the benefits of whatever it is that we accomplish and the feeling that comes with that accomplishment. It's a very important aspect of our lives. Accomplishments can be either great or small. Neil Armstrong must have had a tremendous sense of accomplishment when he first stepped onto the moon, as did all of those who worked with him and made that tremendous journey and accomplishment possible. And even beyond Neil Armstrong himself and the large body of people that made that possible, the whole world, many in the world, everybody is too broad a term, but many, many of us who witnessed vicariously that event, we saw it on TV and read about it, had a sense of accomplishment, shared that vicariously with Neil Armstrong and his company in order to, when that sense of accomplishment came about, a shared feeling of accomplishment that was of a great import. On the other hand, a sense of accomplishment can come from very small matters. I recall speaking with a woman after a lecture I had given that included this topic, and she was enthusiastic about the idea that she could help reinforce the sense of accomplishment in the developmentally challenged children with whom she worked when they felt good about learning to tie their own shoes. Tremendous sense of accomplishment or a small sense of accomplishment, that feeling is there when it happens, and we'll do a lot to accomplish it. Our third and final inborn intention to discuss this afternoon is love. This topic is best introduced by a quotation from the Dalai Lama, who said, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity could not survive." Very powerful quote, and I believe very true. Love as an emotion, of course, is very powerful and very complex. And I'm happy to leave it to poets and philosophers and romantics and your own personal experience to explore that emotion in detail and at length. But as an inborn intention, love is that capacity that each one of us has to see the outside world in a positive, affirmative, and healing light. Love is also the capacity to accept warm feelings and behaviors when they are directed towards us. Very, very important. expressing love, however we do that, with affirmative, positive, supportive behaviors, it gives us a good feeling that is contributes to our sense of well-being and enhances our existence in this vale of tears that would otherwise be rather dull. Okay. So much for love. Well, not so much for love. Let me make one other point. Love and human dignity are two sides of the same coin. Human dignity is love of self, and love as an inborn intention is the same type of feeling directed externally toward the outside world. Love is a necessity, not a luxury. Without it, humanity could not survive. Well, that's our discussion on the three inborn intentions that we wanted to take up today: sense of accomplishment, freedom of choice, and love. Your assignment now, I know you would be disappointed if I didn't give you one. The assignment is for you to take pen and paper and write down some thoughts about which of these three do you have the best working relationship now in your life currently, and why is that? And as another part of the assignment, do the same thing, except which of the three do you have the least relationship with? Which is the one that is most difficult for you? And write down your answers, and as always, keep them in your file. You will find that file very valuable as we continue on through. Okay, let me get my coffee cup here and tell you about our next video, which we have now completed our understanding of the components of mental health, and we're ready finally to define exactly what mental health is. And after that, we will take up, of course, in future videos, how to make the changes that will improve in mental health. But next time, I will suggest an answer to the question that we've been working on for so long, and that is, what is mental health? So be sure to come back for that when you're ready. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and remember, you can always be your own best friend when you have healthy mental health. That's it. Bye for now.